Hi, everybody. It's July 8, 2021. I'm not sure how many people know that there is an army of operatives on social media, every social media platform, that are sending out comments, causing division, writing these horrible bullying comments, tweets that are upsetting people. So I meant to do this a long time ago, but I do want to do it now. This is one of the videos that I was talking about a couple of videos ago, a while ago, in that I just want to post these videos and then I'm just going to do some just talking videos. So, social media as a tool of hybrid warfare, NATO. Okay, so let's just start with Vanessa Valentine. Just, about a minute of this video that she posted today. Instagram bullies, autism, and preparing.
So I'm so sick of these big Instagram bullies, these social media influencers. They call themselves influencers because they are. They prey on vulnerable people, some of them. There's one in particular who preys on vulnerable women, and she just makes them angrier. That's not a person that should be celebrated. They went online and they made an absolutely disgusting, hateful video. And they said heaps of stuff, but one of the things they said, this is almost word for word, was, to all these people that are saying vaccines cause autism, that's been debunked. And anyway, even if vaccines did cause autism, so fucking what? Autistic people are amazing. So I wanted to just pull a little bit of that apart. Yeah, so what? Autistic people are amazing. But anybody that's got an autistic child or that knows an autistic person who's non-verbal, you also know that they are highly intelligent, really in tune and incredible, but they're also stuck living their own worst nightmare. Imagine having the thoughts that we have, the feelings, but not being able to communicate them. So people that say things like that, in my opinion, are privileged, and they need to check their privilege. I'm not saying that autistic people aren't amazing, but they're being dealt a pretty rough card, and I'm just saying it's hard, and I cannot believe that sort of talk is even allowed. This person then went on to just literally call people that are questioning the jabs cunts, and I mean, it was disgusting hate speech.
Okay, so I'm a little, could I have a community guideline strike just, because I've posted this video and the few words that Vanessa just said? Yeah, but it would prove that our social media presence here is being monitored, and it is. Also, listen to a few minutes of this, which was posted, I guess, just today, and the first half of this interview, they're talking about Tucker Carlson, who has now he's a Russian agent, and the NSA handed over emails to mainstream media. Everybody is on Tucker Carlson, and it's trending. It's trending. Okay, so it's been trending for a long time. Now everybody's on Tucker Carlson, and he being monitored. What really surprises me is our mainstream media journalists are acting as if, all of what we do here on in the cyber world is not being monitored. Like we have some privacy. We have none. We haven't for a very, very, very long time. So it strikes me as, I don't know. disingenuous that these journalists are claiming, oh my God, shock. No. So, but that it's trending. And this woman just said that most news, has a cycle of 12 hours and you're on to something else. And we sure do know that that's true. But this apparently has been trending for like 24 hours or 36 hours. They can make things trend if they want it to trend. If they want Tucker Carlson gone, they'll trend all of this crap. And look, the Russian agent, that's a game that has been played over and over and over again. And why Americans are believing any of it is, it's just beyond comprehension. But listen to what they're talking about now.
Yes, I should just qualify some of his original claims. May well be that the NSA was not snooping on him particularly, but on some Russian target that he then called, contacted, whatever, emailed, and then they got in touch with him. But the leaking, I don't know how you can explain that away. Listen, in Britain, by the way, Daisy, there's been a really curious thing, an absolute bombardment of fake posts, hundreds and hundreds of tweets from all sorts of people, alleged people, demanding that Britain keep tough restrictions, like all these ones that I'm going to show. I speak for all UK citizens when I say masks should be made mandatory at all time. And then, this is disgusting. Masks and social distancing should be in place till minimum Christmas time. We should go into a national lockdown. Lots and lots of identical tweets of that nature. And then this one, my brother, so many people had the same brother, it was quite extraordinary. My brother has just tested positive for COVID. He's been double jabbed. How on earth can Boris Johnson go ahead with relaxing the rules on the 19th of July? It's madness. Can you explain what's going on here? Mass postings by multiple accounts, all of the same message, and many of them with the same brother. Who is doing this and how?
Look, this is a real reminder that we must all be so careful what we consume on the internet, because so much of what we see quite literally just isn't real. And what you're seeing there is a number of what people call bots, sort of internet bots or robots. And these are automated accounts. They are operated by a computer program, essentially, and it can be programmed to say whatever you want for whatever reason. And people manage to obtain them by literally buying them from, I guess, what you'd call bot farms. They're not particularly expensive, and you can buy thousands, tens of thousands of them, in fact, and get them to say whatever you want for whatever reason, so that they can be used to swing elections, they can be used to spread whatever misinformation you want, they can really be used for hackers to have a bit of fun on the internet. But it is such a wake-up call. If ever you're scrolling through Twitter and you see that account that has a strange-looking profile picture and is Dan.O'Malley001234 saying something particularly provocative, odds are it isn't real. And the scary thing about it is that they look so real. They can be programmed to be like every other anonymous person you see on Twitter. What I want to know, Andrew, is what possible gain someone could get from bot spamming Twitter pro-lockdown messages and pro-mask messages. What sort of interest could that serve? Is it a foreign government for something? Is it the Chinese government trying to destabilize the UK as they head out of lockdown? I don't know, but really, everyone, you have to be so careful what you consume online for this reason.
Are people that naive? Really? It's a foreign government? It couldn't be the UK government sending out those bots? People don't recognize that our world has changed significantly. They don't know about the takeover of our world by corporations, by globalists, by the elitists. They don't know about the Great Reset, New World Order, nothing. Oh, that's interesting. And that all governments are involved in this great takeover? Okay. Well, let me just read from this social media as a tool of hybrid warfare. NATO. And I will tell you that if I find this on the internet now, everything is getting harder to find. This is on my hard drive. It's downloaded, so I can't link to it because the link will not get you anywhere. But you can look social media as a tool of hybrid warfare. And I hope you find it. So what is this document? It's just about 50 pages. What does it have to say? The weaponization of social media. Social media is being used to shape public opinion, mobilize supporters, coordinate military activities, and collect information for targeting purposes. It has increasingly become the weapon of choice, both for state, meaning governments, and non-state actors, meaning just individuals, private contractors, and I'll get into that in 1 second, but 6 ways social media can be used to support military operations. And trust me, what's happening here on social media is a military operation. So, the 6 ways: intelligence collection, targeting, inform, and influence, psychological warfare, cyber operations, defense, and command and control. All of these activities, regardless of whether they have online or offline effects, can be conducted through social networking media. These activities are mutually supportive and often can be conducted in concert with physical activities on the ground. So you can read in the document itself, or just pause the video and read, what I have highlighted in blue, but I was just trying to make this faster and just highlighting edits. Intelligence collection, the focused search for an analysis of information from social media networks and profiles, including content and conversations. These activities can be done either overtly or covertly. There are several approaches to analyzing social media for intelligence collection. Trending, network, sentiment, content, behavioral, systemic, and information analysis. They do it all. All of these forms of analysis can contribute to target audience analysis and support psychological warfare, or the selection of targets for operations both on and offline. Those social media influencers, they are propped up by NATO, military, intelligence agencies, CDC, governments working their propaganda. Basically, social media makes it possible to get detailed information about networks, actors, persons, and related communication, thus helping any group to get a better understanding of the information environment and the situation of any target group without being physically present. If consistently studied, social media can be a useful source for situational awareness and even for identifying the early warning signals of a future crisis or protests, so they can begin to figure out a plan and then infiltrate. Every protest is infiltrated. So, challenges, limitations, legal and ethical considerations, privacy, all of that is just, it has been thrown out. It no longer exists. Open source investigation, including social media, this approach makes it possible to counter disinformation and offer valuable support for strategic communications needs, cyber operations, targeting social media platforms and accounts to breach password-protected spaces, alter the content of a profile, or render a website completely unusable. They can include actions like distributed denial of service, attacks on websites, password hacking to gain access and expose the content of chat rooms, emails, or cell phones, altering content in social media accounts, or intrusion into databases in order to collect information. All such activities are aimed at preventing other actors from using social media platforms to communicate, coordinate actions, access information, or distribute messages, at least temporarily or permanently, on some social media platforms by your account has been terminated. Cyber operations that take place through social media can also create tangible, real-life consequences. Well, any of you experience real-life consequences and you've been kind of scratching your head about those emails that you write or conversations that you have on those cell phones, and suddenly something happens and you're scratching your head like, how could that have happened, since I just kind of wrote about that in an email? Command and control, internal communication, information sharing, coordination, synchronization of actions. Command and control. That's what they do here in the cyber world. That's why I hate it. Swarming tactics, the distribution of information to mobilize and coordinate non-state actors with a common interest to engage with a specific target. By using social media, actors are able to gather quickly for protests, giving security institutions little or no time to respond. Well, considering what goes on now in the cyber world, and everything is monitored, they have enough time to get control over revolutions and the protests. And the Arab Spring revolutions were, well, that was a staged affair. Anyway, defense, encryption, anti-tracking, and or IP concealing software in connection with social network media, they're all very well encrypted. Inform and influence, dissemination of information to influence a target audience's values, belief systems, perceptions, emotions, motivation. Military effects in the cognitive domain: shape, inform, influence, manipulate, expose, diminish, promote, deceive, coerce, deter, mobilize, convince. We not only have bots, we also have a whole army of two-leggeds doing exactly that. The methods of influence used on social media can be overt, such as the creation of official accounts, channels, websites, comments by opinion leaders, or covert, such as fake identities, botnets, trolling. They can be used in any combination for information operations in social media. Okay, PSYOPs, yay. And of course, everything is about protecting the citizens in their countries, right? They're good and everyone else is bad. The understanding about use of different information and influence techniques varies among the different actors in a conflict. The NATO doctrine does not foresee the use of covert or clandestine operations to influence attitudes. Really? Yeah, okay. Feed me some more butterscotch pudding. I don't know why I said that, but hey, maybe they just put that in my head. It is bullshit. Okay, influencing attitudes and behavior of the audiences. Furthermore, PSYOPs can be used only in military operation declared by the highest strategic decision-making body, the North Atlantic Council. So NATO would never, ever be out there trying to influence us in any way. On the other hand, terrorist groups and undemocratic regimes often have different standards and impose no ethical or legal limitations on the use of influence activities, even covert ones. They do not always officially declare war, and the line between peacetime and wartime is blurred. Such covert operations have been demonstrated by Russian forces in recent operations against Ukraine, when massive amounts of information, oh boy, were leaked in. All right. The propaganda, deception, and rumors were disseminated online using fake profiles, social bots, troll armies, or information special forces. We've got them going. Social cyber attacks, deliberate and organized actions to spread rumors, hoaxes, and manipulative messages in the virtual environment aimed at raising the fear and panic of people and making sure that we all remain isolated, divided, unable to organize, unable to trust one another. Other techniques that can be used for psychological influence and manipulation, increasing the visibility of the message, the use of automatically generated content by spamming, Twitter bombs, sending out thousands of similar messages at once, or fake identities, trolls, sock puppets, bots, in order to spread a message and minimize alternative voices. That's what's going on. Saturating the information environment, the coordinated use of blogs and posts and articles that are posted and reposted by opinion leaders and activists and fake personas. Hijacking of trending hashtags on Twitter in order to increase the reach of a message or misdirect audiences. That's why I said, when things are trending, they can actually keep it trending. And if they didn't, it wouldn't trend. So, targeting and distracting the opponent, distribution of misinformation and rumors to publicize an opponent's alleged wrongdoing, lie about them, destroy their reputation, attacking the target, blocking adversary content, or asking social media platforms to remove the content of specific profiles by complaining about inappropriate content to security. Hey, we all know that's going on, right? Targeting an opponent also involves any sort of personal attack and can go so far as to acquire personal information and use it to defame, ridicule, threaten, destroy. harass people online, ironizing and jeering about professional and personal life. And here they just give this example of a Finnish journalist, but it's anybody. Social engineering, psychological manipulation of people into performing actions or divulging confidential information. Attacks can be automated, conducted by bots, or carried out by humans with fake identities. Deception, creating noise or informational fog around a topic in order to distract attention from more strategically important events. A significant example was the downing of the Malaysian Air flight MH17. Well, you get that, right? They distract all the time. They create noise. They come up with, another story that they want trending instead of the one that might naturally trend. We're so controlled right here in the cyber world. Internet trolling, fake identities, imitating grassroots actions using social media, known as astroturfing. Trolling can be used as a tool of influence in the conflict to manipulate people by spreading propaganda and rumors and distorting the online discussion by attacking commenters with alternative views. Trolling, a new social behavior commonly attempted to reveal hidden disagreements among community members by posing provocative questions or posting extreme viewpoints on controversial topics. Sometimes trolls manipulate others into attacking them or encourage community leaders to attack each other. Most researchers define trolling as deliberately provocative behavior that aims to disrupt online discussions and cause conflict among participants. How often have I seen that in the comments section? Trolls enjoy the attention and excitement of the conflict and use deception, disruption, destruction, those kinds of behaviors for their own entertainment and with no apparent instrumental purpose. Well, there is a purpose. There's a military purpose. There's a NATO purpose to make sure that no one bonds in any way and that people do not trust one another. If I see a comment that is upsetting and I respond, I never go back. Never do I go back, because I know these people just love, it's like they have nothing better to do but engage in just discord, dramatic discord online. I never go back. I see a lot of people going back. So that's why I'm saying this. If you see a comment that's really upsetting to you and you feel the need to respond to it, respond once and don't even look at their response. That's it. They're off your radar. Otherwise, they will drain you of energy. So, differentiation between the classic troll, as described above, and the hybrid troll, who engages in the same patterns of behavior as the traditional troll, but operates in the context of a particular political or military agenda. That's just what I said. So, they use aggression against other participants, offensive slurs, attacks, just like what you heard from Vanessa Valentine. One word in particular I can't stand and I never even say. It's that C word. Labeling, use of particular names and terms to evoke specific associations. The use of historical references, which I see a lot, demonstrating civilization or moral superiority, use of irony and sarcasm, designed to mock behaviors, people, or events, diverting discourse to other problems, more important problems to solve, social proof, saying that everybody does it, many have already decided. And I have received a lot of those comments about, why are you focusing on this when this is so much more important? The biggest jerk in the neighborhood, dehumanization, data attacks, presenting indigestible amounts of data, percentages, facts, and numbers, mostly without sources or verification, saying that it's confidential information, trusted source, secret data. I don't know who to trust here anymore. You know, there are some people that claim to be, you know, that their field of expertise happens to be, you know, within the subject matter of a video. And it's not that I just don't believe them. I don't know. You know, ordinary people, I don't even know what to believe anymore, because I've met, you know, a number of subscribers who have turned out, you know, to be not what they claimed they were. Okay. So, do I believe the engineer? You know, do I believe the doctor? Do I believe, you know, that I don't know. I can't stand it. That's why I want real life back. And I'm not going to get it back. You know? Here, my friend works in the general staff and said that 85% of the people drafted into the Army run away and never show up, and, you know, or all of the statements that people make that you can't verify. Blame the U.S. conspiracy trolls. Conspiracy trolls write long texts presenting logical arguments and unveiling the truth for readers. However, the logic of the messages inevitably breaks down, and the end result is always the same. It's always the fault of whoever. Well, aggressive trolls, similarly to classic trolls, post emotional and highly opinionated comments intended to stir up emotional responses from general users. Classic trolls are usually highly responsive, as they are interested in prolonging verbal conflict, whereas the responsiveness of the aggressive troll is very low. The emotional troll, the hit, you know. Wikipedia trolls tend to post factual information from Wikipedia. Great. So the information is posted as true, but again, everything has to be, you know, verified by your own self. So, you can read, you know, more of the details about these trolls and how to identify them, and criteria for identifying trolls. Posted a large amount of comments, consistently pro-Russian, repetitive, reposting the same message multiple times, generally does not engage in conversation with other users. You know, it's myriad differences of what is happening here. It's not just one particular identifier, and you got them. There's so many. ways in which they have us, well, have us in their web. So trolling is used for psychological influence, also can be used for conducting intelligence collection, and to increase confusion, diminish the value of the truth, to hit you where it hurts, emotional vulnerability. If you're not psychologically prepared for, some aggressive or cynical attack, you'll get really upset. I find it very interesting that, considering all of the videos that I've posted throughout the years and have had 2 additional primary channels that were taken down, I posted a lot of those just talking regarding my own personal experiences with my narcissistic family, the stroke, medications, and I still get comments that I have to wonder, based on the content of the comment, was it written to literally just level me emotionally, to get me upset? I don't know. So, seniors are the most vulnerable. Other social groups studied found to be highly resistant to hybrid trolling attempts. Having a highly critical approach to publicly available information and high internet literacy, to disinterest in the political process. You still have your critical thinking faculties, you'll be less vulnerable regardless of age. So aggression online leads to aggression offline. There are real-life consequences. And those of us who have been online posting, well, some of us have experienced those real-life consequences. Yeah. So, long-term effects, reinforcing narrative. Reinforce that narrative. All right. 20% or more of all tweets are created using bots or apps. Now, army of operatives inside the military secret undercover army. The largest undercover force the world has ever known is the one created by the Pentagon over the past decade. Some 60,000 people now belong to this secret army, many working under masked identities and in low profile, all part of a broad program called Signature Reduction. The force, more than 10 times the size of the clandestine elements of the CIA, carries out domestic and foreign assignments, both in military uniforms and under civilian cover, in real life and online, sometimes hiding in private businesses and consultancies, some of them household name companies. This unprecedented shift has placed an ever greater number of soldiers, civilians, and contractors working under false identities. The explosion of Pentagon cyber warfare, moreover, has led to thousands of spies who carry out their day-to-day work in various made-up personas, the very type of nefarious operations the United States decries, when Russian and Chinese spies do the same Oh, tell me, please, we're not hypocrites here. This secret world is the result of a 2-year investigation by a Newsweek reporter or investigative journalist involving the examination of over 600 resumes, 1,000 job postings, dozens of FOIA requests, and scores of interviews with participants and defense decision makers. What emerges is a window into not just a little-known sector of the American military, but also a completely unregulated practice, an unregulated sector. No one knows the program's total size, and the explosion of signature reduction has never been examined for its impact on military policies, on our culture. Congress has never held a hearing on the subject, and yet the military developing this gigantic clandestine force challenges U.S. laws, the Geneva Convention, the Code of Military Conduct, basic accountability. It engages some 130 private companies to administer the new clandestine world. Dozens of little-known and secret government organizations support the program, doling out classified contracts and overseeing publicly unacknowledged operations. Some of those classified contracts go to big tech, go to social media platforms. Altogether, the companies pull in about $900 million annually to service the clandestine force by doing everything from creating false documentation, paying their bills, operating under assumed names, manufacturing disguises and other devices, to thwart detection and identification, also invisible devices to listen and to video. The newest and fastest growing group is the clandestine army that never leaves their keyboards. This is in addition to NATO with their army. The newest and fastest group never leave their keyboards. These are the cutting-edge cyber fighters and intelligence collectors who assume false personas online, employing non-attribution and misattribution techniques to hide the who and the where of their online presence while they search for high-value targets and collect what is called publicly accessible information, or even engage in campaigns to influence and manipulate social media. Hundreds work in and for the NSA. But over the past 5 years, every military intelligence and special operations unit has developed some kind of web operations cell that both collects intelligence and tends to the operational security of its very activities. So, you can read further. It entails everything from scrubbing the internet of telltale signs of true identities to planting false information to protect missions and people. As standard unforgettable identification and biometrics have become worldwide norms, this this signature reduction industry also works to figure out ways of spoofing and defeating everything from fingerprinting, facial recognition at border crossings, to ensuring that undercover operatives can enter and operate in the United States, manipulating official records to ensure their true identity never gets revealed. So it's a long article. You can read the rest. Facebook doesn't want to talk about fake users created by the Pentagon. Oh dear, Mark, why? Yeah, they don't want to talk about it. Recent reporting says U.S. operatives engage in campaigns to influence and manipulate social media. And you can... I'll link below to everything. If you want to read the contents of that article, go ahead. Thousands of contracts highlight quiet ties between big tech and U.S. military The report offers a new window into the relationship between tech companies and the U.S. government, as well as an important detail about why such contracts are often difficult to find, because they use a whole lot of subcontractors. Now, I've done many videos on the tie between the U.S. government and big tech, and how our military actually created a lot of the big tech that now the big tech, well, they put a face on it, like Mark Zuckerberg and the Google guy, all of the guys, the Jeff Bezos, and they make and live. They make billions, trillions, trillion Bezos, but they live fabulous lives, and they're told just not to reveal any secrets. Microsoft stood out with more than 5,000 subcontracts with the Department of Defense and various federal law enforcement agencies since 2016. Amazon has agreed to more than 350 subcontracts with the military and federal law enforcement agencies like ICE and the FBI since 2016. Google has more than 250, and it also includes contracts. What includes the report, which I'll show you, but it includes contracts from 2 agencies under the Department of Homeland Security that aren't law enforcement related, specifically the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services and the Science and Technology Directorate. So, they hide a lot of these, but there is a report that you got caught, the alleged Silicon Valley military divide. The alleged, that's the operative word. The title, Reports of a Silicon Valley Military Divide Have Been Greatly Exaggerated. Oh, they work hand in hand. So you can check out this report. The military is already using Facebook to track your mood. Now, this came out in 2014. And I think probably most Americans know this, maybe not. But if they're tracking your mood, that means that they're monitoring your social media presence. The intelligence community implores you not to delete your Facebook profile. Please don't, because we want to monitor you. Recent study on how emotions spread on the popular social network site, Facebook, complaining that some 600,000 Facebook users did not know they were taking part in an experiment. Somewhat more disturbing, the researchers deliberately manipulated users' feelings to measure an effect called emotional contagion. It was through Cornell University, home to at least one of the researchers, and, well, they said, we're not receiving any external funding, but it turns out that the university is currently receiving, at that time, Defense Department money for some extremely similar sounding research, the analysis of social network posts for sentiment, i.e. how people are feeling, in the hopes of identifying social tipping points. Why would the military do this? Because they want to manipulate you and control you. The U.S. military has been funding for years, most famously via the Open Source Indicators Program, an Intelligence Advanced Research Projects Activity, IARPA, program that looked at Twitter to predict social unrest. If the idea of the government monitoring and even manipulating you on Facebook gives you a cold, creepy feeling, the bad news is that you can expect the intelligence community to spend a great deal more time and money researching sentiment and relationships via social networks like Facebook. In fact, defense contractors and high-level U.S. intelligence officials say that social network data has become one of the most important tools they use in collecting intelligence. And the vicious cycle. The Pentagon creates tech giants and then buys their services. Okay, you can read this. This is, just a really a very... I've posted videos on the government big tech ties. Whitney Webb has done tremendous. The investigative journalism that she produces is really, have to say, she's probably one of the best. So, the U.S. Department of Defense, their bloated budget, along with CIA venture capital, helped create the tech giants, including Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, PayPal. The government then contracts with those companies to help its military and intelligence operation, which makes the tech giants even bigger. The internet started as ARPANET, an invention of Honeywell, Raytheon, working under a Department of Defense contract. The same satellites that enable modern internet communications also enable U.S. jets to bomb their enemies. And when they're ready to send out the drones, to get a dissonant, if you think that that's not coming, well, I guess, I don't know. We may not be alive to see it, but it's coming. So the GPS that enables online retailers to deliver products with pinpoint accuracy, well, that was all developed by our military. Tax-funded Department of Defense research, backbone of the modern high-tech economy. We paid for it, but these technologies, dual use, the companies that many of us take for granted, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, PayPal, are connected indirectly, sometimes very directly, to the U.S. military intelligence complex. So even if you don't believe, that, our military created a lot of this tech and put up, the face of Mark Zuckerberg, so you believe it's a private company, that they do contract with big tech, don't you think that they could condition big tech to not censor information like China censors information? They could, but they don't, because they use big tech to destroy the First Amendment. Because we'd be up in arms if the government did it, right? So why not create these social media platforms? And that's a great way in which we can destroy the First Amendment, but it'll be Facebook, it'll be Google, YouTube, it'll be Twitter, Instagram. So, a recent report by Open the Government, a bipartisan advocate of transparency, reveals the extent of Amazon's contracts with the Pentagon. Founded in 1994 by Jeff Bezos, the company is now valued at $1 trillion, giving Bezos a personal fortune of $131 billion. Open the Government's report notes that much of the U.S. government now runs on Amazon. The report reveals what it can, but much is protected from public scrutiny under the twin veils of national security and corporate secrecy. For instance, all prospective host cities for Amazon's second headquarters were asked to sign non-disclosure agreements. According to the report, Amazon supplied surveillance and facial recognition software to the police and FBI. And more and more. And Amazon is just the tip of the iceberg because, it's Google and it's all of these social media giants. So we're all being monitored. In the cyber world, you don't know anybody. You don't know who the person is. It could be someone who has a job to do. And they could, design a cyber presence that make them look ordinary. This is not the way anyone should live their life, staring at a screen, never knowing what's true, what's not. And that's not the only armies. Those are the cyber armies. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to post a video about Obama's army, his operatives out there. And there's tens of thousands of them. But all of these armies are just growing. I could never do this work. I find it very sad that people can sell their soul for money. And we have an awful lot of them. So the links are below. Have a good night. If you got to this point, thank you for listening.